Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a great day. Thanks for stopping by. Today I get to share with you a project with one of the brand new stamp sets that just came out over at the C&CT stamp shop. This stamp set here is called Outline Winter Floral. It's a beautiful background stamp and it's part of the Simon's brand new release called Cheer and Joy. Isn't that so pretty? I love the floral images in here. Okay, for today's project, we're kind of going to go monochromatic, and so I'm just bringing in my rectangle dies to make sure that those flowers will fit behind my panel. Since it is a large background stamp, I want to bring in my Misty here, and then some ivory cardstock. This is from C&CT Stamp, and I'm kind of doing a flipperooey. I'm putting my paper on over my background stamp, and then adding my paper on top. Then this way I close the lid backwards. That way I just want to make sure basically that all three of the full flowers are on that panel. Okay, I'm going to ink up my background with my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. Just making sure it's fully covered. I'm going to go ahead and press down really good so I get a great impression on my background panel here. Isn't that such a pretty background? Okay, we're going to add some clear embossing powder to the entire background, but we're not going to heat set it just yet. We're going to do one more panel. So I'm going to end up cleaning off my background stamp, not fully, just slightly. And then this time we're going to use some Nina Desert Storm craft cardstock. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to place my panel on my stamp, and then close the lid of my Misty backwards. This way my paper will stick to the bottom of my panel, my bottom of my Misty, and I know I can get all three of those flowers. The background stamp itself is filled with flowers, but there's three of them that are whole flowers, and I'm going to fussy cut those out. So that's how I make sure that it's covered. I'm going to stamp it one more time. The bottom didn't give me a great impression, so that's the great thing about the Misty. You can do a redo. And I think that looks so great. Okay, I'm going to add clear embossing powder to this as well. Technically you would only need to use the embossing powder on the flowers, but with the VersaFine I was afraid I was going to get ink everywhere, so I just heat set the whole entire thing along with my white panel as well. Actually it's ivory. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to take my double stitched rectangle die and cut out a panel, and when I do this, I'm going to do it on the ivory cardstock, and I'm making sure that the leaves or the flower petals overlap on the outside of the rectangle die here. Just going to tape it down and run that through. So all three flowers are going to be overlapping on the outside. Okay, now after we have this done, we'll set that aside, and I'm going to bring in my Prismacolor pencils. I only have the 12 pack. I think they work well for me, but I'm going to use just the white pencil for this card today, keeping it in again in the monochromatic kind of tone. And I'm just doing some light shading with my white pencil over the petals of my flowers, just to make it pop a little bit. I love the white pencil on craft. I think it just stands out, but really you could do any color you'd want. If you wanted to color in all the leaves of this background stamp and then also the flower, I think that'd be just gorgeous. But for today we're just doing white. I'm just finishing up on my last leaf, and I did leave a little bit of craft detail in the flower too. Okay, I'm going to take my scissors and fussy cut each one of my flowers out, and I'm fussy cutting to the line. Pretty easy to do. The flowers are pretty basic. After they're all cut out, I'm taking my black marker, going around the edges of my fussy cut area, cleaning up those lines and making them pop a little bit too against that background. Okay, we're going to add some dimension with a piece of fun foam. The fun foam that I use is from Walmart. I like it because it's pretty inexpensive and it's adhesive backed. So basically all I have to do is add adhesive to the opposite side. It just makes it easier. Okay, I put dimensional adhesive behind each one of my flowers, and we're kind of doing paper piecing with dimension. I'm just placing the flowers over the image on my ivory panel, and you can see the flowers, each one of them are overlapping on my background panel, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted it to be overlapping. For my card base today, I created one with the same Neenah Desert Storm cardstock. It's an 8.5 by 11 sheet that I just cut in half and then scored at 5.5 to make my card base. And then for my sentiment, originally I was going to do a portrait style card, and thought, you know what, with this die, it's going to say Believe, and it's from Birch Press. It's available over at the Simon shop, but I thought it would look better if I would do it on a landscape style card instead of portrait, so we're going to flip that around. I'm just punching out the pieces, and you can see I die cut out the black cardstock with a piece of fun foam attached behind it to give my sentiment a little bit of dimension, and I'm just tacking it down to the craft one that I cut out, but I'm offsetting it just a little bit so it peeks out from behind. I often do this. I really like the effect that it has. Kind of just makes it stand out a little bit more. And I think over both of the flowers it's going to look great because the B and the E are going to be on each one of the flowers, and it's kind of going to give the illusion of it floating. I just adhered that with glue. And then for finishing touches, we're keeping with the monochromatic tone by adding some Nuvo Morning Dew Jewel Drops. Now these will dry clear like a glossy accents, and I'm just adding them to the dots on the flowers and also the dots on the background stamp. But if you're interested in the Outline Winter Floral background stamp, I'll link it down below. It's a beautiful background. And I also wanted to share with you one more project that I used, well, that I did with the background. I'm just cutting out the images. I stamped them, heat embossed them with silver embossing powder, and then colored them in with my Zig markers. And then for these, since the flowers were different sizes, I just did a little bit of layering with two of the floral images. But this is my project for today. It was super fun. The Simon shop has tons and tons of new products for the cheer and joy. And I wanted to let you guys know too that over on the Simon Says Stamp Facebook page, they do a Facebook Live with the release. So there's a chance to win a wonderful prize too. So check that out over at the Facebook group at Simon Says Stamp. But thanks so much for joining me, guys. I wish you a lovely day, and we will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.